Camera remote operations, centralized management of camera settings. In this session, we will demonstrate solutions to the challenges of managing cameras remotely. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for making the time to be here today. My name is Pavel Škabrot, and I'm a senior file-based workflow architect for Sony. This session is going to run for about 30 minutes, and please note that it is being recorded. Also, you can ask written questions anytime using the question option in the webinar. You may receive a written answer, or the moderator may ask me directly at the end of the webinar. Please remember that there will be a short survey at the end of the webinar where you will be able to leave your details so we can answer your questions later, contact you for further information, or organize a one-to-one meeting. So today's topic is camera remote operations, and I believe that in these days where we can see the impact of COVID-19 really affecting the workflows, it is really important topic. So I'm going to talk about the camera remote operations for field cameras, for the ENG, and for the cameras for the production. So now for the camera operations, what is the most and the first part is that we need that cameras to be connected to some managing service. So that connectivity can be done wirelessly or using the USB LTE sticks, or in some cases also the fixed Ethernet connection. So when we are talking about the remotely controlling cameras, it's not about controlling the camera itself. We will talk also about the pulling files to the local storages. We will talk about naming clips, and we will also talk about some further setups on the camera itself. So now when we have a look and what we will do during this webinar, I grouped the things to the four main groups for the four main topics. The first group is related directly to the camera shooting parameters. So here we will be talking about how to remotely control things like a focus, gain, zoom, white balance, and so on. The second group is represent a possibility to look inside the camera for the files that has been recorded. So of course, in this I will highlight that this is also possible only when that function is enabled. So the third group are the functions related to the metadata and naming clips. Again, in here I will show you tools, how we can send the file names to the camera and how we can also work with the metadata. And last but not least, I will show you the things how we can do a remote setup of the camera, uploading the all file settings to the remotely connected camera. So that was what we can do. And now I would like to focus on how we can remotely control the cameras. So we have two tools to do that. So the first tool is a network station. So that's a standalone PWS server. It is a piece of hardware. And on that hardware, we are running a piece of service software, which is called a camera control manager. This is embedded in all of our network stations. So this service is accessible directly on the server, or you can also access the service anywhere from the world just using the web browser. The other possibility, the second option, is to use a cloud-based service, XDCamera. So now, please let me explain the connection control manager software in a deeper look. So here on that picture, you can see that the cameras using all means of connections like the wireless adapter or LTE is connected to the server. On that server, for the connectivity, we just require a public IP address so that the camera knows where to connect. And how we will do it, I will show you on the presentation, live presentations, where I will focus on the camera remote and the file remote. So now I will switch off my camera and I will go directly to the control of the GUI. So in here, you can see the screen of the connection control manager running on the PWS server. On the I'm using the Chrome browser, and you can see that some of the cameras are already connected, and we have the control of it. So the control part is on the right side of the screen, where I will show you how we can zoom. So let me zoom in a bit on this camera, and now I will slowly zoom out as well. And we can also control a gain of that camera. So I'm adding a gain, you can see it up to 13 dB. Now I will go back to like a 3 dB. And also you can see that that camera is the FX9 camera. So I can also change the look. So I also can see that this camera is connected to a power supply. So we can see that it's 20 volts. Also in here, I can start even remotely a rec control. So in that moment, you can see here an icon which says that the camera is recording. So that's for the camera control. I can do the same with another camera. In that case, this is a Z280 sitting right at my desk. And this is the default state where you can see that now I need to take over the control, and now my control is available. So I can do the very same thing. I can take the control, for instance, for the iris. Now I will be closing the iris, so you can see that the picture is going dark. And now I will be opening the iris, and you can see that the picture is going back. You have also the possibility to take control of the white balance. So now I will change the white balance. So you see the picture looks now very different, and also by hitting the auto white balance, the picture will go back to the normal colors. We also here have a possibility to look inside the camera. So now I will go to a different window called the file transfer window right here on top, and I can see that on the camera, I will look at it, I see the status is online, and I can see the files directly inside the camera. So when I will click one of the files, I can do a playback, and then in this moment, the camera is sending a stream preview directly to that Chrome browser, where I can maybe see the picture. I can also make things like a mark in, maybe play a bit further, and then do a mark out. And I can also initiate the download of that file. So now you can see here like a small blue one. That means that if I will go to a job list, I can see that the file is transferring. So in this moment, I'm taking a partial file and I'm taking a proxy file, but also I can go for the high res. So let me take another clip. I again will go into a preview mode, and I can now again look the same way. I can make a mark in, maybe play a bit further, and I can do a mark out. And the same way, I can take that part of the high-res clip to my FTP server. So again, if I look at the job list, I can see that it's transferring. Now you can see that the size is much bigger. So I'm taking the high-res files. What also is possible to take multiple clips. So when I click, for instance, 3 clips like that, I can hit immediately the transfer, and you can see that the files will be uploaded to the service. So that's all for here. So now I'm going to switch back on my camera, and I'm going back to presentation. So here when we see what is possible in the standalone, the network server, the PWS server. Now I will show you the second option. It is more advanced option using the cloud service XDCamera. So in here, we will have also the functions on the camera remote: focus, gain, zoom, and white balance. I will also show you how we will pull the files from the camera for proxy and hi-res as well. And with the XDCamera, we have more advanced features, and we will be looking at how to name the clips and how to add the metadata to the clips. And also, last but not least, I will show you some remote setup functions what are possible on the XDCamera. So now again, I will switch off my camera and I will go for the live presentation of the XDCamera. So here again, we have the window, the GUI of the XDCamera service on the screen. Again, I'm using the XDCam, the Chrome browser to access the XDCamera service, and we see the cameras. So here it is fair to mention that, of course, we can control the camera remotely the same way, just to take the control for the remote. But you can see that the picture is very small for controlling. So it's much better if you have also if you can use also the streaming service available on the XDCamera, or you have, as previously mentioned, the PWS server also connected. So in that moment, you would have even your HD SDI server, and you would have the high quality picture for the controlling. So now first, let me see here. We again have the camera control. I again can do a bit of zooming. Not with this camera. Yes, I can. It just take a bit of longer because this is mainly due to the fact that now the decoding of the video signal is done on the cloud, so the delay is much longer than in terms of controlling directly from the server. So I will also be switching my camera, the Z280 camera for the XDCamera service. I'm doing it right now, so we should see one more camera online. So I will filter for that, and you will see that my Prague camera will be connecting shortly. So let's wait for the camera. It's right here. So again, I will start the streaming to get a better look. And during that remote, again, I will show you the zooming function. And we will do a bit with the focus, so closing the picture and opening the iris again. So the next part again is related to a transfer. So in here, it's the Z280, we have more advanced view. So first of all, when we would do a transfer, then we can click in the different order for the transfer. So then just do a quick proxy where we can see the transfer is in the order where I click it. And also when we look inside the camera, we can see a clips. And when we look at the preview, we can also play back. Mark in, mark out, high-res transfer, and we also see more information about the codec than in the previous time. So now with that transfer, as you can see, we have just a basic naming of the clips. So now I will show you how we can rename those clips. For that, we have a planning tool where I created one named webinar, but I will create another, and in this title I will name it naming, and I will just put me as an owner. So we have plenty of other metadata fields which we can populate. Now hitting the two planning metadata, I can also select a camera where I want to send it. So I will do assign. And now let me have a look inside the camera. So we can see we have like a two planning metadata fields. So I will be selecting the naming and I will be activating that remotely in the camera. So also what is possible is to actually activate that naming convention even for the camera which is offline, and when the camera gets online, the naming will be automatically activated. So now if I will go back here, I will show you that I will put my camera in the record. So we can see the status of the camera right here, that the camera is recording. So it's creating a clip. So now I will stop. And when we look at the camera itself, it's right here. We will see there is a new clip. It's a naming. Also, we can see that the clip is automatically uploaded. Will be automatically uploaded to the XDCam service. So once this is done, you can go check in the asset window. You can see that here we have plenty of planning metadata which are populated. So we have plenty of fields where we can have a look and what we can change. So that would be for the metadata and for the naming. And last but not least, I will show you how to backup and restore the camera. So in the setting tab of the XDCam, we have a field called backup restore. So in here, we can see all the cameras which are available. We can check quickly what is the camera version. And we can also see that in some of those cameras, the backup has been already done. So for instance, from this camera, we can first do a backup. So in backup, we would call that webinar France, and the description will be master. So I will create, let's name it France, and I will create. And that's a general effect not working for this camera. Sorry for that. So let me back up another camera. So I think that in this one it is a missing SD card where the all file is stored, therefore it doesn't work. So let me do this one as a test, description again as a master. So create. So now you see on this one it's all working fine, and we can see the list of the files generated right here. So we can see that we have for the FX9, for Z750, for Z280, we have the different files available. So then if the journalist gets into trouble, we can restore the camera to the settings what we like. So now let me go back to the presentation where I will be again putting on my camera and just do a quick summary of what is possible. So I show you that we can do a camera remote in a way of focus, gain, zoom, white balance. We can also do a file remote, so we can be pulling files from the camera, proxy and high-res, and also not only the full files, but also the partial files. Again, both for proxy and high-res, and we can download that files to our local storages. We can also name the clips and we can create a metadata. And we also can activate the remote setup for the cameras to reset the cameras. So I think that we still have a bit of time. So I will give a word to my colleague, Dave Headley, who is a senior product manager for XDCam and Hive, and he might have been answering already some of the questions online, but maybe there is something for me. So Dave, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Pavel. We've got a couple of three questions now. A couple of questions that are I've answered online, but I think worth asking as well. So, how many cameras can I connect to the network station, and is it the same as XDCam Air?
Yeah, okay. It is the same. So basically we do support up to 200 cameras connected to the server, from which 30 can be online and showing the picture on the screen. So also it is fair to say that XDCam Air is more powerful. So if there would be a request for more than 200 cameras or more than 30 cameras on screen, we can scale up because it is a cloud-based service. But for the server itself, the limitation is 230 cameras online at a time.
Okay, thank you. And there's a question on the backup and restore capability on the cameras. Does that mean that if I am playing with the camera settings and get it all set up wrong, I can reset to my preferred settings using that tool set?
Yes, this is the logic behind of what we provide. So when we do a backup of the camera on the XDCam Air service, we would actually download to XDCam Air to the cloud. We would download all settings of the camera. So that includes things like the resolution settings, file format, proxy recording, all parameters which are covered by the all file settings in the camera. And when we do a restore, that all file is applied to the camera, and that would kind of like initiate the same thing as we would do it normally as a camera operator would do locally. So then the camera goes to the reset and reload that new settings which we would be restoring.
Oh, okay, sorry. And a quick follow-up question on that then. Does that mean that if I have different program settings that I need, I can store different program settings and then load in depending on whether I'm in a news operation or whether I'm doing some magazine work?
Yeah, absolutely. So that setting would cover again, things like the overall format setting. So if you would be for the news, let's assume using the camera like a FX9, you can happily use the HD codec, the HD 422 at 50 megabits per second. And once you would move that camera for, let's say, a magazine production, you can send a new all file with full sensor scanning. So yes, it is possible.
Okay, good, thank you. There's a question about the mobile application. I know we have a mobile application, but I didn't see anything in terms of remote control. Can we control the mobile device? And by that I mean phone.
Yeah, it is a good and challenging questions in the same time. Yes, for those who remember the previous webinar on the live streaming, yes, we have that mobile application, which is great for the streaming and also uploading a file to the XD camera platform. However, we cannot take any control of the mobile phone. The only thing what we would get is a location of that mobile phone, and also, of course, we would get a streaming, and through that application also you can record a file, and that file can be uploaded to the XD camera. But that's it basically. That's as much as we get.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pavel. And final question. Let me figure out how to say this. As a videographer, does this mean that I've lost control of my camera?
Okay. No, not really. You would be not losing a control of your camera whatsoever. So there are basically two things what you can do. The first, and I think the basic one, is that when you are establishing a connection or creating a preset for that connection on the camera, you can choose what you want to allow. And if I mean what you can choose, you can allow or not allow the control functions, and also you can allow or not allow to send the all files to your camera. And for sending the files, you can go to the details that you can maybe allow it only once. So there are a couple of ways how you can limit an access from the cloud-based service to your camera. And of course, that is the ultimate solution for anyone who don't want to interfere with the camera at all. So it is very easy to switch on and off that service. It is the assignable function to any button you like. So basically, you can take one of the assignable buttons which are best suited for you, and you can just give there a function to allow that access or not allow that access.
Okay, thank you for that. I think that's cheered somebody up.
I hope so.
That's the questions from the audience, Pavel. Thank you for the responses.
Okay, so just as a last summary, so please let us know if you would like to test any of those possibilities with your camera. I'm happy to give you one-to-one training and also enable you access to the services, either to the server or to the XD camera. And now at the end, we will show you a short video study from one of our customers. It is a story related to the webinar subject, and I hope you found the webinar interesting. Thank you for your time and patience, and see you soon. So now I will be playing back the video, closing my camera, and after the video we will close the webinar. So again, thank you very much for your attention, and have a great day.
Televizija Pink je vodeći provajder medijskih usluga u regionu jugoistočne Evrope. Emitujemo preko 60 kanala. Sarađujemo preko 20 godina sa Sonyjem. Sony je lider na tržištu broadcast opreme. Kako smo mi rasli, tako je Sony ispunjavao naše potrebe i kroz vreme ta saradnja se samo razvijala. Na početku godine smo krenuli u potpunu modernizaciju, celokupnu kako news sistema, tako news production sisteme i uključujući kao dodatak na sve to i XDCam R. Sama mobilnost platforme koju XDCam R nudi, da svaka kamera praktično, da svaki reporter, da svaki snimatelj može da bude live source u našem programu, da može odmah da se uključi preko SDI-a, to je ono što je nas privuklo toj platformi i to stvarno radi perfektno. Mi takođe imamo i Hive sistem, dobro sarađuje sa Hive-om, sa našim news production sistemom, tako da fajlovi samo lete. Sam XDCam R je donao izuzetno veliku efikasnost i rasprostranjenost, znači vesti uvek tu u svakom momentu, bez obzira gde se nalazi, da li je kod nas u zemlji ili u inostranstvu ili na drugom kontinentu. I tu je taj moment kad smo krenuli da radimo sa proxy fajlovima, koje upotrebljavamo u svakodnevnoj montaži.
Kao osnovnu prednost izdvojila bih to što odmah kada dođem sa terena ja već imam prebačene fajlove i to je nešto što nam ubrzava proces stvaranja priloga i dosta pomaže i u tome da možemo i da se posvetimo da prilozi budu kvalitetniji. Dakle, to da je sve već prebačeno dok se mi vratimo sa terena.
Mali fajlovi, velika brzina rada, a sam rendering u punoj rezoluciji obavlja Hive na kraju, a sve je zajedno uvezano u sistem. To je sigurno jedan ozbiljan i napredak i inovacija i u radu i u efikasnosti i u troškovima i u svemu.